And welcome back. Timeless Personal Growth and Development. Today we're talking about insecurities. We've all got them. I've got them. You've got them. Everybody that we know has insecurities. And we can either deal with our insecurities, or our insecurities become so overwhelming that it stops us from reaching our full potential in life, and stops us from enjoying life and doing the things that we want to do. And everyone's insecure about something. We all got something, and they always got like everyone's got like multiple insecurities, but there's always that one big one, the one main insecurity. Everyone's got one, and it could be a personality thing. It could be a physical thing. Maybe you're insecure about being short, about being overly tall, or whatever it is. And everyone has one. Everyone has like one main one real big one. And I'm gonna let you in on mine. My big one, and it's always been since I was a little kid. And I was always made fun of because of this. And as a kid, it drove me nuts. As an adult, it's a lot better because I've changed my perspective on it. But to me, it was always a quality, it's always a personality trait. And to me, my biggest insecurity was my quiet nature. Because as a kid, I was bullied as a kid. But that was always the reason I was bullied, is because I'm a quiet guy. And I keep to myself. And kids in school, kids were like, oh, he's quiet, doesn't say much, let's kind of poke him, try to get a reaction out of him. Because they couldn't get a reaction out of me. And then they finally would, and I get pushed to my limit, and they finally get a reaction out of me. And then fist dropping within, we all get in trouble, shit like that. But we always have like some insecurity that big insecurity that stops us from moving forward. And my quiet nature bothered me as a kid because I was made to feel like, oh shit, something's wrong with me, because I was surrounded by extroverted people all the time, and most of the time they kind of made me feel like, well, you're not talking a lot, there's got to be something wrong with you. And if you're someone who's just quiet by nature, introverted by nature, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with you. People just don't understand it. So if you're surrounded yourself by people who are very extroverted, they just don't get it. They don't understand it. And how do you deal with that insecurity? For me, how did I deal with my quiet nature? Well, it evolved, and my perspective of it changed and evolved over time as I got older and as I matured and realized there's a lot of benefits to it. There's nothing wrong with me because I'm a quiet person. There's a lot of benefits to it. People like to walk in a room and like to chit-chat and talk all the time, and it develops an inability to be self-aware of yourself. For me, I like being able to take a step back and look and watch and observe people. And that's a strength in being a quiet, introverted person. You're not always freaking talking. You're not always blabbing all the time. You're actually listening. You're actually observing your surroundings and paying attention to the people around you, and that's a big plus. And I've learned to surround myself with people who are similar in that sense. People that are very close to are quiet, introverted people themselves too. So I don't do well in a crowd of highly extroverted people. It completely turns me off. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. And I like very individualized solo activities. I like to run. I like to be by myself. I like going to the gym. I like being by myself. I like that stuff. Being around people and having to socialize for a long period of time, it drains me after a while. And I don't like it. And I would have this thing as when I was a kid, I was a late teenager. I always felt like pressure of having to go out and drink and socialize, even times when I don't want to, because I hung out with a group of friends who were all very highly extroverted and wanted to go out all the time. So I felt that social pressure of having to do that as well. And then I would go and do it, and I never understood this at the time, but I get it now. But I would have moments where I'd be out and drinking, and I would feel tired, and I'd feel exhausted, and I just want to get out of here. And I wouldn't tell people that I would leave. I would just leave. And then people would wonder where'd he go? People wonder where I am. And then I get a call or a text like, "Hey, are you okay? You just left without telling anybody." I'm like, yeah, and when I did that, I thought there was something wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with me. I was just tired and exhausted of talking. I was tired of people, man. I was tired of talking to people. I'm done. My tank was out. I had no more gas left. I needed to go recharge. That's all it was. And you didn't understand that as a kid. You didn't understand that. Now as an adult, I love the fact that I'm an introverted person. I'm a quiet introverted person. I love it. And now if it rubs people the wrong way, if they don't like it, that's just too damn bad. You can go hang out with someone else. Because I like hanging out with like-minded people who feel the same way. The people that I'm closest with in my life are quiet introverted people themselves. And we don't judge each other for that. So whatever big insecure, and that's my big insecurity. Since the big one I've had my whole life. It's not so much of an issue now because I know how to deal with it and I've changed my perspective on it. So whatever big insecurity that you have, or that you were made to feel super shitty about when you're a kid, you got to change your perspective on it. Yeah. If it's something like, oh, you've been super thin, super skinny your whole life, that you have control over. Go to the gym, start eating, start putting on mass. That's stuff you can control. You know, something like oh, you're insecure because you're too tall, you're too short. You can't control something like that. You just got to change your perspective on it. That people are going to look you in a different way. Generally, people who are very short, very small, very short, will end up making up for that and be very talkative, very social people, Napoleon complex, and be very loud all the time to make up for that. People are very tall, extremely tall, don't need that. They can walk in a room and people take notice. They have that commanding presence. But maybe it's something generally, not so much for men, it's more of a female thing. A lot of women who are extremely tall feel very insecure about that height. And it's not necessary. It's not a bad thing. You just got to change your perspective on it. And a lot of insecurities are things that we can't control, that we can change about ourselves. Just like I said, I was insecure about being a very quiet person. I was made to feel shitty about that most of my life. Not by everybody, but a good portion of people I hung out with. For whatever reason, I always found myself in very extroverted environments, and that was the issue. Around very extroverted crowds. And as I got older, I tend to gravitate towards more kind of my own kind. People who are a little more introverted, and we understand each other, we get each other, we get it. And you just got to change your perspective of whatever you're insecure about and attack that insecurity. Whatever we're insecure about, I'll end this video on this. Sometimes whatever we're insecure about, we shy away from it and avoid it and kind of sweep it under the rug and don't want to pay attention to it. If you're insecure about something, about yourself or a skill, lean into that. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to suck for a while, but it's if you're bad at public speaking, practice. Practice in a group of 2 people, 5 people. 10 people, 15 people. Get better at it. If it's something you know you want to get better at and you feel really insecure about, practice and lean into it. Don't avoid it. Lean into it. Actually, public speaking was another one of my insecurities. Yeah. And I've had to do quite a bit of it. I will always be uncomfortable with it, but I know to lean into it a little bit. Knowing when I have to do it makes me uncomfortable, but I just push through it and it's over. And on that note, thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you like this video, subscribe. Time is personal growth and development. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.